Welcome everyone to our 7th Virtual South Summit. And this one is truly special. It's about Fintech and Insurtech. And if there's one industry that's going to be disrupted and has been disrupted over the last few years, it is the financial industry. With me, I have Maria Benjumea, the founder of Spain Startup. Maria.
Hello, Paris. How are you? It's great being here with you today, again, in this 7th Virtual South Summit. And as you said, in this incredible one with Fintech and Insurtech. And we have great partners here like BBVA, like Sabadell, and great startups, finalists, and that they are going to pitch today because all the industries are really disruptive. But this one is incredible.
Truly disruptive. You see, one thing a lot of people don't realize is that millennials are going to inherit more money than any other generation in the past.
Tell me about that, Paris.
From people like you and me, baby boomers. You're going to leave a lot of money to some people.
That's great.
And so millennials, they buy differently. They invest differently. And that's why fintechs are the ones that are hoping to disrupt.
Yeah, and that's why in South Summit, we want to work with all the industries and of course with fintech. But you know where we are. We are in this incredible war room. And this incredible war room is IE University. IE University is our partner in crime since the very beginning. We launched South Summit together because we really believe in this ecosystem, in the innovation ecosystem with startups, investors, and corporates working all together just to make business. And this is what we are going to do just today, business in the fintech industry. So, Paris, let's the show start.
Yes, the show is going to start. And today I'm here not only as MC, but representing IE University as I run the venture lab there. And as you all may know, IE University is one of the top universities in the world in entrepreneurship. So, let's begin. Our first conversation panel in this version today is between Axel and Luco. And we have Luca Boccio, who's a partner at Axel. He joined Axel in 2018 and focuses on consumer internet, fintech, and software businesses. He led Axel's investment in Luco and helped lead Axel's investment and ongoing work in Sender, among others. Prior to Axel, Luca was with H14, where he invested in global early and growth stage opportunities such as Deliveroo, Get Your Guide, Fixbus, and SumUp. And representing Luco is the CEO, Raphael Vuillerme. And Raphael started with Luco with Benoit Bourdel to protect European homes, former OpenJet.com CEO, a SaaS-enabled marketplace for business aviation, and former Rocket Internet, GVD, and Food Tech founder, industrial engineer, and HEC Paris graduate. So, join me in welcoming Luca and Raphael.
All right. Thank you very much, Paris, for the introduction and most importantly for having us today. Raphael, so let's start with a bit of a background. Can you share more with the audience about your journey in founding Luco? You have become one of the fastest growing European Insurtech after founding the company in 2018. Tell us more about why you decided to found the company and what was driving you back in the days.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Luca. Hello, South Summit. Thanks for having us. We started Luco 4 years ago with a pretty naive and simple idea. We could use AI to protect homes and basically analyze home data to prevent accidents. And it is in that journey, starting working around home protection, that very quickly we started working with a home insurer. We work with a lot of home insurers in Europe, and working with them, we realized that there were a broader pain, which was not necessarily technological, but which was that fundamentally the home insurance industry in Europe was pretty broken because of the consumer experience, but also because of the business model. So working with all the big incumbents in Europe on home insurance made us to actually wanted us to recreate something from scratch for way better customer experience and more importantly for a better home protection.
That's very insightful. And maybe, Rafa, given that you mentioned a large insurance. So clearly you have decided to go after a very traditional market in a way dominated by legacy large players. Tell us more about how it is to start a company in an industry like this one.
Yeah, so the first and most important thing is coming at a completely outsider, give you a lot of fresh and naive view to a business. So this allows you to completely reinvent the value chain, the value proposition, the customer experience. So it's a very, very powerful thing. At the same time, you need to do your homework and you need to get a really good understanding on how the industry is currently working, so you can not only improve it incrementally, but you can also know the fundamental of insurance, how risks are managed, how you price some risk. And it's also a very regulated industry. So regulators are not necessarily the most comprehensive player to our partner to new entrants. So you need to do your homework. You need to really understand how it works, what are the rules. And then the good thing with regulation is when you start from scratch, you get the latest version of the regulation. So you don't have to pile up many years of regulation change. So you have a lot of edge in terms of innovation, in terms of learning how to build great customer experience, and also just building a fresh brand out of zero to compete and outperform the large incumbent, definitely. And
thank you.
And like our experience in France is we grew from 0 to the 5th biggest insurer in France in only 2 years, and this year we're going to be the second in terms of new contracts sold. So you really have an opportunity to massively outperform the guys that have been here for 100 years.
And maybe on a separate point, but connecting what you're saying. So clearly you're focusing on consumers. So how to win consumers in an industry like this one, right? Because when we think about it, the insurance world, usually first of the few words that comes to mind is really either boring or traditional or really not innovative. So how to really connect and click with consumers from scratch?
I mean, at the heart is really being obsessed by the consumer experience. And today, Luco best marketing is answering on the chat in less than 1 minute. And you don't really talk a lot to your insurer. You don't really use a lot to your insurer. So it's a lot like a contract that is dying in a closet for most of the insurers. This is really your experience. And so the few interaction you have with your insurer are generally pretty bad. So you're going to talk to a sales guy that's going to try to sell you a lot of contracts that you don't really understand, and you're going to use that asymmetry of information to actually sell you as much contract as he can, and not necessarily in your interest. And then when you have a claim, it's super long, it's super complex, and the most likely thing that's going to happen is this claim going to be denied for a reason you don't really understand. And so if you focus on just making those two experiences actually really good, the word of mouth become really strong. And at Luco, our biggest acquisition channel is just pure word of mouth. So really focus on making a product people can understand. For example, in our case, we don't have any sales guys, so no one is incentive to sell you a contract you don't need. So we actually make sure you understand what you're buying. You understand what is covered, what is not covered. And then when you have an accident, instead of taking several months to pay you, it takes a few hours. And this is definitely a 10x better experience on something people don't really care or don't really spend too much time to choose. So if you're really good there, the word of mouth is going to be super strong, because the insurance and the industry otherwise is very similar everywhere. So no one is more tied to one brand or the other. For most of the consumers, the insurance is a whole thing that is definitely boring and a pretty tragical experience. So if you just make one really good experience, this will stand out really far among the other players.
And maybe connect again to this. You have put your consumers at the heart of what you're doing, but you also pioneered multiple services to help them. So maybe you can provide some insights into how your proprietary hardware technology and AI playbook works?
Yeah, for sure. So as I mentioned earlier, we did not start Luco say, okay, we want to reinvent insurance. We started Luco, we want to make home safer. And this is fundamental. We're still on that vision to actually use technology to make home safer. And the best insurance is an insurance you just don't need at all. So what people need is not a contract, a legal contract. What people need is to not have accident in their home, and when if something bad happens, a very fast solution. To give you an example, about 70% of the cost of home insurance is water damage. And water damage is basically a leak that if you detect it super early, it's a small piece of water on your floor, and it's not a problem. You clean it and you get on with your life. So what we're doing, for example, at Luco is we develop a plug and play hardware that we can provide to all our insurers that looks like a watch that you can stick on your water main pipe. And then we use AI to analyze your water consumption and detect leaks as early as possible. And if we detect a leak, again, after 2 minutes, it's not even an accident, it's not a problem. You just can go on with your life, and we propose you a way to fix it, and that's it, you move on. If you detect it after 3 days, then it becomes a nightmare for you and going to take several weeks. So this is how we can really leverage technology just to ease the life of consumer and also make insurance cheaper.
Which is very much the core of what we do. I like the way you frame it. And maybe shifting gear, you announced at the end of last year your 50 million euro Series B. So back then you had communicated some highlight of the milestones that you achieved. So really getting to having on board more than 100,000 customers and really having experimented fast growth despite COVID. Can you give us more of an update of how things are going at Luco and how maybe the team has developed, how it is really to manage such a fantastic growth toward time?
Yeah, definitely. So we just passed 100 team member threshold last week. So we're super happy and excited about the growth of the team, and we will basically use that Series B and the more firepower we have now to continue to innovate around home protection, continue our leadership into new generation home insurance in France, but more importantly into Europe. And so we're going to open 2 countries this year, starting with Spain, and it's definitely something super exciting to see, is that we will be able to replicate what French consumer really loved and really massively sees as an opportunity for better homes, to provide it to a much more consumer in Europe. Okay,
so maybe given that you're mentioning Europe, which countries are you thinking about for maybe exploring this expansion, if I may ask?
Yeah, so the first country will be Spain, and we can officially announce it. And we're actually super happy to announce it during South Summit.
Oh, nice. So please, Spanish consumer, listen to us.
Exactly. So, and we're gonna launch it pretty soon. I cannot commit on a date today, but it's coming pretty soon. So the waiting list will be open also in a few days. And I mean, stay tuned. And also for, I guess in this room, there's a lot of raw talent that who are looking to join the next home insurance giant in Europe. It's also a good time to contact us if you want to help us in Spain or even in another country. Definitely contact us, because we're building a top team to scale this in Europe.
Right, we need to stop this, otherwise it looks like a commercial, Rafael. Let's go back to the questions. So you mentioned that you're now past more than 100 people in the team. Maybe for the benefit of many entrepreneurs in the audience, how have you managed to really keep the early culture you define with the core few team members alive, from really building a team that large that quickly? So how have you managed that, especially during the time of COVID and having people remotely?
I think what is really key is really define what are your core pillars, and those are not going to change, and then accept that all the rest will change dramatically. So our core pillar is that customer obsession. One of the ways to materialize it is everyone is doing customer service at Luco. So no matter your position, you're actually going to do every month customer service to really have that links to why we exist and why we continue. The second pillar is care, and we have a very caring culture for our user and also internally. And the only way to be really good at helping people is being really good internally in term of care. The rest, it completely changed. We started COVID period, we were about 30. We're about to end COVID, we're 110. You need to accept that it's a lot of chaos and change, and just find solution and update your culture as the company matures. So moving from most office-based to a full remote company, this kind of thing, you just need to basically find the way on the go to continue delivering a great experience and go as fast as you can.
All right, last question, since we are running out of time. Rafael, as an entrepreneur that wants to give a suggestion to another potential entrepreneur or wannabe entrepreneur, what is the most difficult part of your job that entrepreneur should be aware of?
So it's really dependent on scale, on the scale of Luco and the stage, but definitely for me now is you need to, every stage you need to scale and learn a new job. And what bring you to, let's say, Series B is definitely what not gonna lead you to the future. Now my job is to be actually a really good manager and really good leader, rather than being a massive execution person. And yeah, it's completely changing your skill set. So it's really, really fascinating because you're learning as much as you can every day. And at the same time, it's definitely changing to become a true leader and manager. So that's the most challenging part for me.
All right. Thank you very much again, Satsami, for having us, and wish everybody a nice day ahead with the rest of the organization.
Thanks a lot.
Ciao.
All right. Thank you, Luca and Rafael. All right, let's keep going. Now for the most exciting part of this competition, which is the startups. It's really why most of us are here. Let me tell you how it's going to work with the jury. In a minute, I'm going to talk to you about who the jury members are. We have an amazing lineup of jury members as usual. But today for FinTech, you can imagine it's truly special. Now, what are we going to do to evaluate these startups? Well, the criteria is the following: innovation, scalability, team, viability, and how investable is the startup. As you probably know, the most important thing for an investor is the team. And today, we're going to have one of the team players in each of these startups present and actually pitch their ideas. So before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about our jury. We have Francisco Del Valle from Accenture. We have Alberto Hernandez from Allfunds. We have Javier Carrascal from Bank Inter. We have Enoa Campo from BBVA. We have Gabriel Thomas from Black Fintech. We have Ali Majavi from Blockchain Founders Fund. We have Nuria Menchaca from CaixaBank. We have Oscar Ramos from China Accelerator. We have Alvaro Callejo Sanchez from Demium. And we have Silvia Mendez from Enel, Christophe Pinot from Elia Partners, Victoria Mehran from Expert Dojo, Lily Wang from Expon Capital, Carlos Silva from Faber, Gonzalo Tradesete Gallard from Faraday Venture Partners, Henry Cashin from FinVC, Carmen Gavilan from Iberia, and finally Samart Shekhor from 630. Oh, we got some more here. Ignacio Font from Inveready, Venecia Holtz from L Marks, Elena Martinez from MasterCard, Nikolai Shetkin from Matchmake Ventures, Ichazo del Palacio from Notion, Sean Seaton Rogers from ProFounders Capital, Juan Estalela from Prosegur, Luis Sanchez from Rakuten Capital, Alfredo Iglesias from Sabadell, Andres Dancausa from The Venture City, and Montserrat Lerena from Visa. Can you believe this? I mean, I don't think I've ever had such a big jury before. So this is a time to celebrate, and hopefully our startups are not going to let us down. I'm sure they're not. So let's begin. Our first startup is called Raison App. It's a marketplace for pre-IPO units of large cap companies from $100. It is from the country of Estonia, and it's represented by Alexander Zaitsev, the CEO. Join me in welcoming Raison App.
Hello everyone, my name is Alex and I'm one of the co-founders of Raisin, the magic app for managing personal finance and investments. We started our app because of the problems which faced our customers, like overfluid market of digital financial services, excess of information noise, lack of regulation, and of course, the opportunity to invest in private equity companies with the low entry tickets. So in April 2019, we launched our app and offered the customers the solution to solve the majority of those problems, and of course to invest in private equity markets with a low entry ticket started from only 100 euro. We do have a great marketplace. We have already finished the offering of a couple of companies like SpaceX, Airbnb, Kraken, Robinhood, DigitalOcean, and many others. But we do work on providing the customers the opportunity to trade between them and to invest in many other companies. Raisin is operating all over the world, but we are focusing on EU. This is a pretty big market. Of course, we have some competitors, but compared to those, we do offer the really unique product, which allows the customers to invest in those opportunities which were not available to them earlier. We're a pretty simple business model. The monetization the revenue model is based on the fees, which are going from exchange operations, and of course from the margin which is implemented in those smart contracts with private equity companies offered. We have great metrics like customer acquisition cost in about of 42 euro and lifetime value of a customer in about of 140 euro. We are growing pretty fast. We're currently having more than 10,000 of customers on platform and 3.5 million euro. This is the updated info of customers' assets under management. We were recognized by several companies and organizations. For example, in 2019, we were recognized as top 5 Fintech startups in Berlin, and we have won already a couple of pitch battles in EU also. I'm very sure in success because of our team, which consists of great experienced employees having been working for different IT and financial organizations in major companies in EU and Russia also. We're looking for additional opportunities to invest in Raisin and to scale our business to speed up the growth process. And of course, we're also looking for additional financial institutions like banks and acquirers, and do also look for private equity and venture capital funds, which are looking for exit events for those holdings they have. Thank you very much for your attention.
All right, thank you. Q&A time. Any questions from our jury here? Speechless or what, guys? All right, here we go. Sean.
Excellent. Hi, I think my mic is live, right?
Yep.
Yes.
All good.
Excellent. Great. So the way I understand it, we're buying shares in unlisted businesses via the token sort of methodology. Does the company need to be aware of this? Do you have to work with the business itself to allow this, or is it done outside of the company's sort of knowledge base?
Yes, thank you very much for your question, Sean. We are not selling the ownership from the company. We have a regulated investment structure, so we're purchasing the interest from employers, from other funds, and structure it via fund units and using digital ledger technologies.
Got it. But I suppose sometimes there will be restrictions that employees will not be allowed to sell. So this is only going to be kind of authorized sort of virtual share transfers then.
Of course, if there is some kind of a offer or transfer restrictions, we cannot offer such opportunity to the market. Still, it's working like the same private equity offerings within the limited amount of stakeholders like venture capital funds and private equity funds and accredited investors. So it's working basically the same using the master feeder scheme within a regulated structure. We do have an underlying asset and split it into the fund units, which are secured, tokenized, which are the really tokenized securities and offered to the customers.
Got it. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Oscar, Do you remember when we had drinks in Shanghai? What was that, like 6 years ago?
Yeah, I think we're organizing one of these events, and it was but quite interesting. So small world. Now we need to grab the drinks remotely. But sorry, I'm not sure if I couldn't hear the question, the previous question, so I'm not sure if what I'm asking is actually repetitive. But I'd like to understand better about you mentioned that you are fully compliant. I'd like to understand better about the regulatory framework that you are basing that statement on.
Yeah, it's a very great question. And under the hood, we have a very difficult infrastructure, which consists of several companies. One of them is an Estonian company having a virtual currency services license, which is used to resell and to distribute, so basically the virtual currencies, which are fundamentally other units of those funds, also regulated and domiciled on British Virgin Islands, which have the underlying assets. Also, there is a regulated investment advisor, which manages those funds having the underlying assets, and it's regulated by US Securities and Exchange Commission. Of course, we have some restrictions on several territories like US. We had a couple of calls with Securities and Exchange Commission, which unfortunately currently restricted the sales in US. Due to the substance of the offering object. But still, currently in EU, we're working on the virtual currency license, and the current legislation allows us to work in this way.
All right, thank you, Alexander. Our next question is from Ainhoa Campo. Ainhoa, mute. Mute?
Now,
okay,
yes.
Good.
Sorry. Thank you for the presentation. Very interesting, your proposal. I would like to know if it's possible to share with us the private equities that are working with you, or the kind of private equities that are working with you. Now, then, how or who is setting the price? And if there is any kind of secondary market, once I am in the platform and I am an investor in this platform, is there any secondary market too?
Mm-hmm. Got it. So I will start answering with the second question. We are currently working on a secondary market. Unfortunately, when we started it, we used the Ethereum blockchain technology, so it has some limitations with the high transaction fees currently, and it kills the idea of democratization. So we are moving to another blockchain right now, and after moving to another blockchain, we will start. We have it working in beta regime, but still, as there are lots of fees the customers paying just for a single transaction, like for 100 of USD per transaction, notwithstanding the amount of the units they are selling, it's not working. But we will launch the secondary, of course. Speaking about the pricing, so we try to put the price, which is an average price on the secondary market between private equity funds and different ideas. For example, we have we offered the customers to invest in Payward, which is doing business as Kraken. So it's one of the biggest exchanges in the world after Coinbase, located in US. And the price for it was something about 23 or 24 USD per share. So basically, we do the pricing by ourselves. Of course, it depends on the price of the underlying asset we are purchasing. We can do it both ways. We can pool the funds between, we have an underlying asset, we can fund the underlying asset. We can purchase the underlying asset with all funds, and then resell it to third-party customers. Resell the units which have those underlying assets. And answering for your first question, we can discuss the possibilities of selling any equity with any private equity or VC fund, but of course you should understand that the offering should be interesting to the customers, because they won't purchase those companies basically which are, for example, not very well known around the world, or they're on an early stages and something like this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexander. All right, moving right along. Our next startup is from Spain. It is represented by Teresa Nunez, the CEO. Seed Cash. Seed Cash is the intelligent liquidity management company for small business in the pocket. Well, we're going to find out what that means. Join me in welcoming Seed Cash.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm Teresa, the CEO of Seed Cash, the intelligent liquidity management for small businesses and freelancers. Why have we created Seed Cash? I'm sure that you have heard that cash flow is more important than your mother. Yes, run out of cash is the second reason startups fail. And 44% of small businesses who experienced liquidity issues said that the problems were a surprise. Any company, no matter the size, needs to have a forecasting model to survive. Small businesses represent 90% of world's business population. In Spain, there are almost 3 million companies, small companies, and freelancers. Seedcash is the intelligent treasurer for them. Creates automatically the annual cash flow of the company with the possibility of creating cash flow scenarios, generate forecast payments and collection weekly forecast, makes a smart reconciliation between forecast and actuals, building the real cash position worksheet, and allows to identify very quickly debtors and shows the main liquidity KPIs and the budget deviation analysis. We have indirect competitors like bank aggregators and ERP for small businesses, and also direct competitors in Spain and other markets. But what are our differential points? Seedcash is focused on liquidity, forecast, and control. Has been created by treasurers because we have a very big experience in our team in treasury. The application is intelligent and dynamic because it's based in artificial intelligence. It's mobile first, intuitive, easy, and simple. Users don't need to have financial knowledge and only need 5 minutes a day to use Seedcash. Our business model is a SaaS with annual subscriptions for plans depending on the bank account's number. Seedcash has been started with liquidity management, and we are going to working capital management. We have born with the aim to be international very quickly. Our objective at the end of this year is to have 300 subscriptions and 8,000 subscriptions in 4 years. With the expected sales levels, this year we will be in break-even. Working as a team, Ana Tapia, Ana Avila, Vicente, our technological partner, Maria and Mariano, we will get to go to be the life insurance for small businesses globally. Thank you very much.
All right, Q&A. Seed Cash. All right, here we go. Ichazo. Mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, great. Thank you for the presentation. I think that was good. So there are some new companies being created and funded in this topic. Is there any specific ideal customer profile that you are going to target in order to create a very good user experience and automation for that cash flow forecasting, specifically for them? Or are you going to go just in general to the market and go to SMEs, which is a pretty broad market?
Thank you for the question. It's also. We have identified 3 buyer person: freelancers, startups,
and small business, very small business. That means people that don't have time to manage finance and don't have knowledge about liquidity, about treasury, about how to do. So it's clearly a profile like a small, very small company who they work with an accountant, advisory or accountant, but they don't have the liquidity vision.
Okay, any last question before we move on? Gabrielle.
Yes, yes, I'm French. Hello, thank you for the presentation. Just a question related to the last one and to the persona. What is the pricing model you have? I understood it's a SaaS model, but how much can your user pay for such a service? And how do you make, how do you set up an acquisition strategy that could be efficient regarding the average basket you can get from your customer?
Thank you, Gabriel. So for the price, we have now 3 plans, from freemium to VIP. So from 89 euros per year to 200 euros per year is the price, and our customer acquisition is focused in businesses association, because freelancers and small companies are organized in associations. So it's a way to go to a big number of, it's like a channel to go to a big number of small businesses. And through advisors also. We have a special SaaS for advisors where they can personalize for them and manage their customers in the platform.
All right, thank you. Moving right along. Our third startup today. This company is called Solid Block. It's from the country of Israel. It's represented by Yael Tamar, the co-CEO and co-founder. What does Solid Block do? Well, they convert blocks into digital securities, reinventing the way real estate projects come to life. Join me in welcoming Solid Block.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yael Tamar, co-CEO and co-founder of Solid Block. We are dealing with a huge real estate market, which is $300 trillion US dollars in total market value. Yet out of that, only 1% is tradable or accessible to people. Our mission is to make real estate work for everyone. Real estate investment is close to many investors, as I discovered as a beginner investor myself about a decade ago. You need a lot of money to start investing. You cannot access good deals that, you know, big boys and girls are accessing, and your money is locked up for 5 to 7 years in a deal. So Solid Block enables investors to buy and sell any asset at any time, anywhere, just like NASDAQ for real estate. Essentially, our platform transforms assets into tradable securities, connecting asset owners with investors and traders through our token issuance platform, utilizing our vast network of partnerships with trading platforms, exchanges, ATSs, distributors, and so on. Check out our marketplace.solidblock.co to look at the assets we have right now and to invest. Our platform makes property accessible through lowering capital requirements to just $5,000 to $10,000, so anybody can invest, by creating a global reach and global raise, and of course, liquidity. Our first use case was actually the first ever commercial real estate tokenization, which we did for the St. Regis Aspen Ski Resort that raised $18 million on our platform. It's now trading at around 28% premium on an exchange called T0, and it brought us pretty good revenue for Solid Block. Our competitors are some really big and very successful companies like Polymath, Securitize, Vertalo, raised upwards of $50 million, doing a lot of tokenization. Very few of them actually deal with real estate, which requires highly specialized knowledge. The competitors in the real estate space and Solid Block are very different. Solid Block is a marketplace and is focused on utilizing global partnerships to provide a global liquidity pool. We have a great portfolio for investors that are coming in. They can actually create their own portfolio on our platform. We're focused right now on the issuance marketplace, but our roadmap includes building solutions that are based around security tokens. Myself, I have a background in finance and corporate finance and startups. My co-founder is an IT and product guy. We both have over 10 years combined experience in blockchain. We have a fantastic team spanning Israel, Canada, US, and Europe. These are all the partnerships we have. We're raising a seed round right now. It's almost finished. So if you're interested, please speak to us. Be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
All right. Well, you're lucky you got so many investors here today. Maybe there might be one or two that are really willing to cut a check today. What do you think? Anybody here willing to cut a check? Any questions?
I don't see any hands.
Lily Wang.
Hi, thank you so much for your time and the presentation. Yeah, I was wondering, what is your business model? Do you charge commission fees, or do you also charge some fees even before the money was successfully raised?
We have some onboarding fees, but main fees that we charge is origination fee, 1.5% on all the money that comes in through our system, kind of like PayPal. And we also have 0.25% trading fees for OTC trading that goes through our platform or through our participating exchanges. So we keep collecting fees throughout the life cycle of the asset that was tokenized on the platform. And thank you for your question, Lily.
Thank you. And I was wondering, in the long term, is your focus still on the individual buildings, or you may potentially also move to the real estate fund industry? What is your long-term vision?
And we actually are raising a few funds right now for our clients. But the long-term vision for Solid Block is to facilitate technology and to have channel partners that handle all the deals. So right now, as we're looking for those channel partners, and we actually are now closing with one in the US and then another one in Europe, and we're looking for those in Asia. But basically, we would provide technology, and the channel partners would handle all of the tokenization service and project onboarding and things like that. As the industry develops, of course, and more people find out about the technology, we get more and more interest from such channel partners. So we're open, and I would be happy to get some, interested parties to work with us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. Any more questions? We got time for one more. All right, moving right along. Our next startup is called We Group. We Group is from Belgium. We Group helps insurance distributors to better connect with their growing group of digital customers. From the country of Belgium, join me in welcoming Arvid de Koster, the CEO and co-founder.
All right, good afternoon from Belgium. My name is Arvid de Koster. I am co-founder and CEO of We Group. And at We Group, we help insurance distributors to better connect with their growing group of digital customers. Now, when we talk about insurance, we immediately see three major issues. First of all, a big problem with inefficiency, leading to high overhead costs. Secondly, low customer satisfaction, because let's be honest, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, yes, today is my insurance day, right? And lastly, a substandard use of data, leading to the loss of a lot of opportunities. Now, to solve these three problems, we have developed Louise, a 24/7 virtual insurance assistant that helps insurance intermediaries and companies to actually service their clients a lot better. She will ask questions, for example, and based on the answers, they will actually be linked to over 900 different data sets telling everything there is to know about the need and the risks of our clients. That means that we will be able to also link that to a perfect insurance product or a package offering. Now, Louise doesn't only support that in the front office, but also in the back office, because next to new business, she will look at the portfolio and say, okay, here there is a new opportunity because, for example, this client bought a new car, you should target him with car insurance. Or, hey, dear broker, can I send out an offer because we see that something changed in the policy and the risk of your client. And that obviously makes sure that a client can do more sales, can work more efficiently, and have optimal digital communication with their clients and partners. Now, obviously, I'm not doing this alone. I have a background in insurance, but I'm aided by Remy, our CFO, who has a corporate finance background and had a startup which he successfully exited in the past, and Bjorn, our CTO, who has an academic background in computer science engineering. We also have an amazing team of 40 people, and thanks to these people, we were able to make deals with some of the biggest insurance companies in the world and generate over 1 million annual recurring revenue in the last year alone. We're not only doing this in our small home market of Belgium, but looking towards other markets and already active in 7 European countries. And this ultimately led to the fact that we were able to raise 4.5 million in seed funding and will soon be looking to raise our 10 million Series A round. Now, to wrap this all up, I want to address every insurance carrier, every insurance broker or agent that might be listening to this. Well, I clearly showed you that we know what the problem is in today's market. I clearly showed you that we have the solution for that problem. The only question that I can ask you now is, are you next? Thank you very much.
Well, you heard it. Are you next? Amazing little performance there from Belgium, right? What do you say, guys? Impressed? Oscar?
Yeah, thank you very much for the energy. I mean, being very late here in Shanghai, almost 11:30 p.m. It's great to have a presentation with this energy, Arvid.
You're welcome.
So there's a lot of people in that space. I mean, that's an area where a lot of players have been trying to improve the interaction between consumers and insurance at all levels, like sales, customer service, etc. I have 2 questions. First one, what would you say is your secret sauce? I mean, what do you do differently than others? Because a lot of people have tried chatbots, mobile apps, lots of different types of things. So what would you say is your secret sauce? Is the thing that really makes you stand out and drive that significant revenue and expansion across multiple countries? And then can you elaborate also on your revenue model? How do you charge and how do you scale that revenue from a standard SaaS? Is there any way for you to scale that revenue per customer?
Yes, both very good questions. To answer the first one, or start off with the first one, I would say that the secret sauce for us is really in the data, because we ask as few questions as needed to actually give our clients as much information as needed. For example, purely based on the question, dear customer, what is your address? We can tell the broker everything, how a house looks like, but also what his family situation is, if he has a car or not, if he has an enterprise registered on that address, for example. So we can tell them really a lot, and therefore they can really act on the information that they get. That means that you actually, as an end client, as a consumer, you don't need to give a lot of information to get a really, really tight offering. And I think we're doing that this well because we actually started off almost 3 years ago as a B2C company. We wanted to be a digital insurer ourselves, yet along the way we pivoted. We saw that there was more room in actually helping or using our technology to helping the intermediaries, the brokers, right, which is why we pivoted. But that is why I believe we really understand the situation of that end client so well, right? When it comes to your second question, to the business model, exactly, it is a pure SaaS model. So they pay a monthly licensing fee. To give you an idea, the average revenue that we get for one average client, I would say on an annual basis, is about 3,000 euros. So it's not a huge investment for our average clients. The thing is, where is the scalability in that, or where do we upsell in that? Well, we have different modules. Obviously, we start with a core Louise module, There are a lot of brokers want to add a life insurance module, for example. They want to add our campaigning module, our claims module, where we also leverage that data again to tell a lot about that claims. And we see that in that way, by bringing out those new models, we could really expand that revenue. Whereas, as I just said, the average revenue of that base pack would be around 3K annually. We see that the average client, so the clients that are really going along the model, are now worth 8 to 10K a year. So we actually tripled the ARPU just based on actually those additional models.
All right. Thank you, Arvid. Any other question? We got time for one more. This is your opportunity. You got Arvid here, full of energy from Belgium. He's excited about his startup. All right. We're going to keep going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arvid. Our next startup is called Divisend. It's from Germany, and it's being represented by the CEO, Thomas. Divisend is a B2C software that helps private investors to reclaim their taxes by automating the withholding tax refund process. Join me in welcoming Divisend.
Hello, my name is Thomas Rappold. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the German wealth tax fintech Divisend. With Divisend, we help investors maximize their dividend returns. Imagine you own dividend stocks from outside your home country, like Nestlé from Switzerland. You have this problem of double taxation of your dividend. You get taxed twice, withholding tax and income tax. And at the moment, refund opportunities are widely missed out because of fiscal complexities and technical challenges. Although the European Commission recommended a solution since 2000, but nothing happened till now. Investors have to get familiar with different reclaim documents in different languages and mostly paper-based. And our B2C software helps private investors to reclaim their taxes by automating the withholding tax refund process in a very convenient way. And the dividend market is $1 trillion business, as you can see on the left side. On the right side, you see the total addressable market. We're talking about $100 billion in paid withholding taxes, and more important, 18 billion are still unreclaimed. And this gives us enormous room to grow. And as Peter Thiel says, competition is for losers. There's no other SaaS company on the market targeting retail investors. Our product is super easy. You can do the reclaim in just 4 steps. First, you connect your investment portfolios. Second, you get a fast overview via our dashboard. Third, you do the claim setup via our tax assistant. And fourth, you submit the application. And our business model is simple, straightforward with a high margin. And our revenues consist of transaction fees based on a certain percentage of the reclaim amount. It can be up to 42 euros per year in average, or in the reclaim period, a leverage of 4 years in the first year. That means revenues of up to 168 euros per average, what you can see on the right side. And with our unique business model as an API first company and our strong partnership with cutting edge brands like banks and stock exchanges, magazines, web portals, and marketplaces, we have low or zero customer acquisition costs. We simply go where our customers are. As an API first company and with our already strong established partnerships, we are the perfect blitz scaler for high and fast leveraging in the most important financial hubs in Europe, North America, and Southeast Asia. As you can see in the financial chart, our business model scales like a hockey stick. Within 5 years, we see revenues of up to 40 million and a strong cash flow. Based on our established partnerships, we expect $1.5 million revenues in 2021 and $3 million in 2022. And we are fully self-financed and bootstrapped, and as a remote-first company, we have a lean cost structure and a solid 6-digit financial funding from our co-founders. And we have the ability to generate significant revenue from day one. We plan a Series A to accelerate our growth in 2021 in the second half with a range of 2 to 5 million euros. We already have a diversified world-class team with more than 30 years combined startup experience up to unicorn status. All key positions are filled by outstanding entrepreneurs with a track record in leading companies like Allianz, Credit Suisse, Reuters, Vontobel, and unicorns like Numbers. Thank you for having us.
All right, Q&A time. Everybody's kind of shy today. I feel like I'm in Korea, you know? Last chance to have a question. All right, we got two here. Ichazo, please. Mute. Ichazo, you're muted.
Sorry. How are you planning to reach and to build the customer base at the scale?
So we have already great partnerships with, as I mentioned, with the leading banks, not only national but international banks, and throughout the world. We based on our security API, we easily can plug into their systems, so there's no hassle for implementation. We don't sell software, so we give them a great service, that means they are very open. So we have projects throughout the world. So in Benelux countries, in Luxembourg, in Switzerland, UK, Spain, the United States, Asia, and so it's pretty amazing. So because everyone is interested in this topic, and you don't have to go into the IT department. So because we are cloud first, open source first, and with our open banking API, so we make it hassle-free for them to work together with us. And we don't sell them software. We sell a solution, and are like PayPal or MasterCard, just success fee oriented based on the transaction fees.
All right. Okay, Ainhoa. Ainhoa, mute. The mute.
Now.
Okay, thank you.
I always have a little fight with the button, sorry.
Okay.
Well, I must tell you that I didn't know anything about this solution and about the business model that you have explained us. So I am very impressed, and I was going to, because I didn't know about this scope of opportunity, no? I was going to ask you about if this solution was suitable for every country, but you already answered.
Right, that's right. So we always look at the 360-degree view. So we had, as you're coming from Spain, we had a discussion. So we were part of EDI, European Data Incubation, which is very, very famous, with Spanish colleagues in the Basque region. And we had to talk with a leading bank in the Basque region, which is also a big shareholder in companies like Iberdrola, Electra, and co. And he got it in the first sentence and said, "Can I have their exclusivity for the Basque region?" And it was for him also amazing that he didn't thought about it. But that's exactly what we are doing. It sounds, first of all, after a boring market, but it's so big and with high margins, and the pain is there. And yeah, that's it. And we have there a great mode, as we have the underlying technology in our own company, like a Tesla. So we are a full tech stack company, and that makes it possible to play in the muscle.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Andres, did you have a question you want to ask?
Yeah, thank you. Congrats, Thomas, on your presentation. It was good.
Thank you.
My question is, actually, my question is to understand a little bit better the way that you are going to build your moat. Is through a company agreement, or there is also something in your technology through the API that you are building that will allow you to compete in a better way in the future? Because actually the opportunity is great. I think you have found like a really good space, but I have some doubts or concerns about how are you going to defend yourself in the future with other competitors coming in the same industry.
So that's why we so I'm long time in the startup business, and I'm long time in the securities and API business. We really looked at the thing which is hard to drill. So you can't give just 20-somethings the money, a few million, and to go for it, because you need deep proprietary knowledge on the one side in taxation. You need that on the securities. You need it on the API side, and you have to bring that together in a very convenient, smart way. And that's what we built over the years. So it's not my first startup. So I also built Numbers, which is a unicorn in the aggregating business in Central Europe, one of the biggest ones. So I know really the API business. Yeah, that's so it's really hard to drill, and you can't. It's not only money driven that you say, okay, give someone 5 or 10 million. We had just this afternoon a meeting with PwC, which is a big taxing company. And all of the big ones are interested in our solution because they say, hey, we are good in taxation, but we are worse in or bad in programming standard software and in this. So they offered us also a cooperation like another of the big 4 ones for the United States too. So they are not competitious. They see our value approach and see how hard it is to bring that into software. And there we worked over the years very hard. So it's not just a few weeks ago that we started. So there's really deep knowledge into it. And you need it in taxing, you need it in security, and you need it in the API. And we have built a fantastic database. So we have our own proprietary dividend database. So we catch around the 3,000 most important international dividend stocks. And have their historical data of up to 50 years in dividends. So you need in the reclaim form also reclaiming back over the last years, and there you need high quality data. So this is, but there we come from the asset management business, have their good track record with companies like Vontobel in Switzerland, and so there's really a big moat around it. But you need a lot of money and a lot of brain for that to conquer there.
Okay, thanks and congrats again, Thomas.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. All right, well, that brings to an end our startups. So right now, we need this amazing jury, very quiet jury, I must say today, but I hope you've all been paying a lot of attention because now it is time to vote. All 29 of you have to vote for one of these 5 finalists as the winner. And the winner has a fast track to the top 100 at South Summit in October. So please vote while we continue with the program. Our next part of the program is a lot of fun. It's where we bring back some of the finalists from before and some of the winners from before in South Summit. And it's my honor to bring back a couple of startups, Lovies represented by Joao Cardozo, who's the CEO, and Finoa, represented by Henrik Gebbing. And Henrik, it's great to see you again. One of my top students in Venture Lab and the IMBA. Got to say, it's great when there's nothing that is more gratifying than seeing one of your students make it. And that's what I feel when I talk about Finoa, because they made it in a sector that wasn't exactly easy back then. And I remember, all the conversations with Henrik with, how can we get people to understand what we're doing? Well, they ended up not only understanding, but investing. So let's talk. Lovies is the first 100% digital, all-in-one, flexible insurance provider in France. They were finalists at South Summit in 2018. Infinoa is a custodian platform for institutional investors to interact with decentralized financial services in a secure and regulated way. And they were also a finalist, but in South Summit of 2019. So let's begin. Let's begin with you, Mr. Cardozo. So tell us about how Lovies has evolved over the last couple of years, and how have you guys dealt with the pandemic? Mute. Mute.
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Fantastic. So I was saying, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to give an update to everyone about Lovies. I would say that it was, it's really fascinating to look back. So we, at the time, it was October 2018, and we won the Fintech track. So, and it was very interesting days because at the time we were talking about this vision, and there were people that said, oh, that's really exciting, and now in one insurance platform, but it's too ambitious. And I mean, when we were a very small team of less than 10 people, we had raised very, very little money, less than 400,000. And it's very interesting to look back. So what happened to Lovies now? So now we are a team of more than 70 people. We have raised more than 20 million. euros. We are now backed by 8 different VCs. We have now 4 products live in France. At the time, we were selling less than 100 policies a month. Now we are selling more than 4,000. We have more than 4,000 new clients per month. So it has been an incredible 2.5 years. And I mean, I think it's very, I mean, it's difficult to say good things about the COVID, but the reality is that I would say that the COVID really helped to even give more emphasis to the problem that we are solving and pushing the digitalization from a user standpoint and increase experimentation from a user standpoint.
All right. Thank you, Joao. Henrik, good to see you again.
Likewise, Paris. Good to see you.
So tell me, Henrik, what about Finoa? What have the last 2.5 years been like?
Oh well, it's been quite a ride. So maybe just to think back, like I mean, we started Finoa 2017, 2018 at IE during the MBA that I did with my co-founder together. And well, it took us quite a while, as you said yourself, took us quite a while to convince basically both the investor as well as the customer audience to kind of understand what we do and what kind of product we brought to the market. Because what we saw is that you know, crypto was still a bit, you know, seen as a field that is unregulated, that is insecure, and institutions, especially who we are targeting, didn't really understand yet why they really needed to start diversifying their portfolio into crypto. That has completely changed over the 2.5 years, looking back now. And we as Finoa are serving here in Europe. I think we're the largest institutional custodian in Europe by far, serving companies like Deutsche Telekom and their subsidiary T-Systems, to Rocket Internet, to venture capital funds, family offices, in serving and accessing crypto assets. And what has changed? I mean, I think we have shown as a company that we can provide the services, and at the same time, we were able also to partly educate together with the entire industry why crypto is not just going to disappear, but actually sticks around. And if you look at companies like Tesla, PayPal, going into the market, obviously that has very much helped us, leading us to actually last week, very fresh news still, to announce our $22 million Series A funding round with Ball Capital, a fantastic London-based investor who, for example, built Revolut over the last years. And what we really see is that crypto is now really in the mainstream fintech industry, and we are part building that. That's absolutely great.
Amazing. Congratulations, Henrik. All right. So, you know, as you know, I'm IE. I'm not South Summit, but I want to ask this question because a lot of people ask us this a lot, which is, you know, what use do these competitions or these events like South Summit, like the ones you guys were finalists at, can you tell us a little bit, and we'll start with you, Joao, how did South Summit or an event like South Summit help you, and what can it do for a startup that is starting to look for recognition and the like?
I mean, what I see is that the startup like Lovis, we have to convince multiple stakeholders to make it happen. And what I mean multiple stakeholders is that on one hand, for us to bring the vision of Lovis to reality, we need to have insurance capacity. So we are working at the moment with 9 insurance companies that provide this capacity. So we need to convince them that we are going to be able to make it happen. We need to bring the team members, we need to bring investors. And what I would say is that an event like South Summit, it's amazing when we participate and we have a good recognition, because it gives a lot of attention to the startup. I mean, and all these different people. So if I look on all the free, it helps us. It helps us from an insurance company standpoint. It helps us from an investor standpoint or investors that reach us directly. I can see that even from a recruitment and a team standpoint, some of the best team members that we have were people that pinged me directly on LinkedIn and said, I've heard about Lovis, I love the project, an amazing idea, I would love to join. And so I think it's really important to a startup, because a startup, I think it's really to have this big, bold vision and make people believe and share that same vision. And therefore, everything that I think helps share that vision is really important. I think South Summit for us was really helpful on that.
All right. Thank you, Joao. Henrik?
No, I can only add into that. I think the first time I was at South Summit was in 2018, and we just started the project, and I was just a visitor. You know, like I was still proud just seeing the name Finoa first time on a name tag. You know, on an event. We didn't make it to the pitch competition that was in 2018. The year later, we made it to the pitch competition. Actually, I can't take the gratitude. It was my colleague from the very beginning, Nelson, who pitched, and we got a lot of inbound requests from both investor as well as customer side, partner side. So it really helped us to build out the network, and especially in the early days, that's all you have, right? You can only build out the network, talk to people, validate your idea, reiterate, pivot if you don't really see that the fit is just yet there. And South Summit was definitely on this journey to grow to our Series A just now. A great help already, and I very strongly believe that going forward it's just going to be the same, right? Of course. We now it's not like 2018 when you know I didn't really, or no one really wanted to talk to you because you just didn't play a role just yet in the fintech ecosystem. But now the network effect really starts playing out because you meet more and more people, founders, investors, customers that help you build out your company. So conferences like South Summit are very important for that.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to wrap up, but before we wrap up, I want from each of you some last pieces of advice to these entrepreneurs that are now just starting. Some of them maybe are going to be pitching at South Summit later this year, but they've had to survive this pandemic or started during this pandemic. What advice do you give people who have never seen as much uncertainty as the one they're seeing right now? Joao?
I mean, I would say that my big advice is that when you are building a startup, there are amazing days, there are days that are really tough. And I think if there is one thing that I would retain, and for me is the sort of golden rule is, independently if I have an amazing day or a difficult day, to keep the discipline day after day, to keep the consistency day after day. And I think for us, it was a really, really tough ride. I mean, for 2 years, we survived on less than 400,000. That's less than what we spend these days per month. So for us is shocking how tough it can be, but how rapidly as well things can change. And so I would say that for myself, my piece of advice and what I try to do every day is be the very best version of myself and of the team every single day, independently of what happens. And I think it's out of that consistency that great things happen.
Thank you. Thank you. Henrik?
Well, it might sound like an old record somehow, but some investor told me a few years back that, hey, Henrik, it's not a sprint, this is a marathon. And it's so true. I mean, every day, you know, you have your challenges, your problems that you have to face, and you're tired. And sometimes it is hard to wake up and look with energy into the day, but and then you kind of try to zoom out a little bit again and look, okay, yes, this is a big journey. This is a long marathon. It's, you know, the last 3 years have gone by so fast. So don't get yourself too tied up in the daily problems. Look at the big picture, what you're working on, what you're trying to build, what you're trying to achieve. And to me, it helps still, even though this is such a platitude in a sense, but this marathon, you know, it doesn't stop. So don't, you know, get caught in daily problems when you think it's just a sprint and it's not.
Yeah. And if I can quote, there's one quote from Jeff Bezos that I really love, which is, don't get obsessed with always being understood. Because, you know, if you really believe in what you're doing, and I think, Henrik, you're a great example of that. And I've had the luxury of living that through with you guys with Finoa. You guys were consistent, you were persistent, and you followed through when nobody understood what you guys were doing, or very few people did. And look at you now, Series A, 22 million, a great example. So, you know, follow your passion, even if people around you don't get it. And that's probably a good sign. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for making the time in your busy schedule, and I hope 2021 is as good as 2020 for you. We're going to continue. All right, Maria.
Hello. I want
Now
to
is the
congratulate
time.
our two finalists, Henry and Joao, because they've been doing a great work since during this year. So great congratulations.
Okay.
And now comes
The big moment.
best moment. Well, the best moments are many of them because it has been great, the whole virtual. But this is going to be good because now we are going to announce just now who is the winner. And the winner is Thomas Rappel, and the startup is Davison.
Wow, congratulations.
Wow, congrats. Well, I think we have, congrats.
Thank you. So thank you so much and muchas gracias. And it's always a good thing to be with Finoa as we beat them in the EY Startup Academy. So it's always good to have Finoa alongside. So always having luck, fun with them, and great thing what Henrik said, and happy to win this. So really great. And if anyone would like to connect with me, can do that via LinkedIn, and so really happy about it and proud.
Of course.
Thank you. Now, Arvid, I know you didn't get a prize today, but you do get the prize for energy, okay? And today we really appreciated that from Belgium. Thank you, Arvid. All right. So,
thank you very much.
So we've come to the end of this 7th Virtual South Summit. But here we are, Paris. This is just bye-bye, not bye-bye. And the next is for Africa?
No.
Tell me.
The next one is education, EdTech, and that one is going to be a big one for us because
of course.
Education.
Here we are.
On May 13th, so don't miss it. Education.
Yes, please, I want to see you all. So see you on the May 13th.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.